Welcome to DocPoint Documentary Film Festival in Helsinki. My name is Peter Jan van Damme. I'll be moderating this talk with Renato Borrayo Serrano, the director of Life of Ivanna. The film is also in competition and it might win the DocPoint-elokuvatapahtumat Award of Best International Documentary. Good evening, Renato. How are you doing?
Fine. Happy to be with you.
All right. I'm very excited to meet you. Like all through the film, I was thinking, like, who is this person making this film? I haven't seen something like this. Like I just have to know. So here we are. That's lovely. My first question, maybe it's the most obvious one. You're currently in Guatemala. You are from Guatemala. The film is made very far north in Russia. What's the connection? How did you get there?
Yeah, I've been living in Russia already for 10 years, a bit more. I become already part of this world, of this society of Russia. I consider myself already kind of Russian. And the story is that first we went there with my wife, Daria Sidorova, who is also the DOP and the co-writer of the story. And she was born there in the same hospital that Ivanna, in the same year. And all her family is from there. So first time we traveled there together without the idea of making a film, just with the idea of seeing her birthplace, this place. But we had a camera with us naturally, and then in some moment we started to connect with many people that were from tundra communities immigrating to the city, and find this connection between this feeling of us of being in that place, discovering, and some of their feelings of being immigrants in that place, that resonated also with me being an immigrant from Guatemala. But we're still with not considering to make a film, just meeting people, talking with people. At some moment, we met Ivanna by the strike of chance, and we knew about her existence, about that there is a woman that lives the traditional way of life of the Nenets alone, without a man, which is this division of labor in these societies, in this way of life of reindeer herding, is very important, because usually men do the reindeer work and the woman household. And they are both very tough jobs. And then, but we knew that there was a woman, Ivanna, with many children alone there, but we knew that from some of people that knew her, or some cousins, but we never thought that, okay, we have to meet her. No. And then by chance, one day she was in the city buying some stuff, and we met her and had this very first conversation, in which it became absolutely evident and obvious that she is a character that questions any presumption or any illustrative view of our preconceptions, or any colonial gaze that we might articulate, or even if we were fighting against this colonial tradition of depiction of these people struggling with it was by talking with Ivana that we understood that there are these feelings living with her, that she is living through these feelings, and this way of living those feelings of needing another life, of trying to wonder what is to have a different life, but also this love and this absolute pertinence to uh, her background, and a very critical also view on what happened on her life, but not politicized, but from a place of emotional reflection that for us was very relatable, and we decided to follow her in a very, let's say, instinctive way. It was a feeling from the gods. It wasn't, of course there was some political and reflection around it, about feeling this place uh, that that is a city where people from the tundra emigrate because of their homeland being also destroyed and exploited by these corporations taking the resources from them, and still they are coming to this place that is their homeland, but it's a city in their homeland, where they're absolutely foreigners. We had these feelings that were these reflections that were important for us, but the main thing was this connection with Ivana that made us um, want to follow her and to accompany her. And she had this absolutely clear also idea and feeling that she would that she wants to move to the city to try another
Already
life.
at that point when you met her.
Yeah, but I think she was lacking still of well, there was a plan. This was a plan she talked about, but was not seen by people in her community or around her like doable, because still you need some capital to move, and it wasn't only an urge to have another life, to try something else that moved her, but also a necessity, the difficulty of keep on this way of life without many reindeers. But it was a mix of desires and necessities, but there wasn't also a very, it wasn't obvious, yeah, that this would happen, but still we just wanted to accompany her in this kind of in this process she had of reflection and reflection and some way of insurgency that there is in surviving and reflecting on her own life, this way, which is critically and very sharp, but at the same time is inside her. This is not a person that will go and make a speech, on this. There is this very political problems that are being lived by her, with a big degree of reflection, but at the same time, in a very strong way inside her, which is something that is very hard to find also, that there is this degree of reflection and also mm, I think we were captivated by how smart she was,
Yeah.
and how intense. Yeah.
Do you feel like you, because from what you're saying, I feel like there's a strong link with your own, maybe your own journey from Guatemala to Russia, but also your sort of your journey from your preconceptions that you're talking about, towards maybe a different understanding of her context and of the context of the Nenads, and by them maybe I would mean also indigenous people around the globe. Do you feel if you did not make that own journey yourself, you would have made this film, you would probably have made it differently, you would maybe not have made it in the first place? How strong do you see this connection with your own journey is?
Well, our main, let's say, main concern in this film it was not to illustrate our very smart reflections about the faith of a people or the faith of a place or a person in particular, and make this big smart reflection, but to accompany a character that for a reason absolutely passionate us, we feel passionate about, but to follow this, but following this character in the most open way, and just accompanying her struggle and her silences, and to do this in the most honest way. We weren't trying to illustrate any ideas with her. We were trying to just to put our bodies and our to put our bodies into the task of accompanying, yeah, and then constructing a story that will be honest to that experience that we had together of accompanying, and that's the thing that I think that is the most strange in this story. Dramaturgically, it's very not classical, and is but this in a certain way is archetypical, but because the character is very strong, but this is not like often I see there are these films that start in some faraway place, so-called, from European metropolis or America, I don't know, that start with this voiceover of a story of creation of a people, and then when God gave everyone the land, they gave us one piece. They gave a piece to everyone, but and there is this folklorization, that even very conscious and politicized authors uh, play to, because they come to a place to spend 1 month, and then they live with with the expended budget of the project they had written on a paper. Yeah. So, with a film, and so this our process was. I don't say that we didn't write anything and that we didn't study it, and we did a lot of theoretical work, but the main, let's say, the main commitment we had wasn't with other than to accompany Ivanna, and in this experimental way to see where does this takes us, because we were relying on this quality of her that struck us, that is this uncompromising feeling and need in this moment of her life where we met, I think, to change something, to rethink something in with the means she had that weren't unlimited, but they were. But she had this strength, this decision, and she was very reflective. So we just put our means to accompany her. Yeah.
I think you very successfully avoided to exoticize anything. I felt always it was very honest depiction of this one person and her family. And I was wondering, like, there's the story. I think it's really beautiful. Like she's talking about the traditions that she lives by and doesn't live by, and there's this fish that she eats anyway, even though she's not allowed to because she's a woman. And that might have led to her bad life. And then there's the fish a bit later. There's the fish in the bathtub, which is obviously living a bad life as well. And so, like, I'm wondering how you developed the visual style, and how much did you plan any kind of narrative while in the production, and how much of that was developed later on in post-production.
Well, this fish thing I think explains a lot about the film, because we weren't looking for metaphors, because metaphors are always the instrument of this big artist, that find references of their culture into any place they come. That's an instrument of colonization also, to find this pietà in a after a bombing in Iraq, or to find that's a way to tell yourself that yes, the world is as we see it. Yeah, we still think. Хорошо. Сейчас позвоню, Милель. So the thing is that we wanted to just to discover the situations that appear, incorporating our presence with a camera organically into the lives of our characters. So it was, when I'm saying that we put our body into service of accompanying, it means that the camera is always not disruptive, but we are never hiding it. We don't make fly on the wall kind of thing. We are there. We exist as characters. The camera is a character itself. That's something we became aware since the beginning, that we will never use hidden camera, or that this, we will never hide that we're present. If someone's watching on the camera, we will cut it. So this, and I think this presence helped us to find things, for example, with the fish, that is not really a metaphor. Is true. Ivanna is not allowed to eat this fish, and she eats it. It's not a metaphor. It's not this Eva biting the apple. It's something that she really believes, and that does, and then we meet this fish. The thing is that yeah, we are not trying to look for these details of magical realism, but it's just for something very important in this community. The fish is something we ate with, that's something that is everyday life.
Yeah.
So when you put your body into this position of service to the action, yeah, to integrate to the action, those things becomes very clear. They appear to you. It's a kind of state of mind that then after when you are editing, this is just something you have very clear in your head, and suddenly it makes big sense when you put it in the timeline of the editing program. It appears with the strength of a metaphor, but it's not a metaphor. It has this energy that's alive because it's something you were able to see. Of course, this demands of your attention, but for example, that was clear from the beginning. There was for example, the ending of the film. When I was shooting that scene, just asked Ivanna to go and see where they parked the house, where they left it, and I wasn't imagining that it will be near the water and in this like. It looks like I paid a big Hollywood artist to put that house in that place, with a big trailer, but no, and it was like a gift, to find it, because it could be put somewhere, before the water. It was in the very end of this place. For reasons, of course, but the thing is that by walking there, everything was right. The light was right. Suddenly all the boys were home. They could come, and
you were there,
and I was there, and so and I was thinking at that moment, okay, that this is the end of the film. But then in the editing room, when I put that shot in the end, that they are going and the house is there, I felt that it was too metaphorical also, it was too artistic, in a sense, and as I felt the urge there to just to go with them back to the house, also
Voila.
my son. Also, I felt the same feeling that I have to break that very constructed image of convincingly speaking artist, but to break that and go with the people, with the character. Yeah. And to see what happens after, and it's really those two shots with the house and then she in the cutting the fish, they are chronological. No one, I know that no one believes filmmakers that when they edit they change,
or even when they try to convince you that
but that is chronological.
Let's choose to believe you this time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was we came home and we started to cook the fish.
Yeah. We just saw your son pass by. I was wondering if you, while watching the film, I was wondering if you have children of your own, because I see Ivanna's children do all sorts of things that I would not want my children to be doing. And so as a filmmaker, I mean, they're burning down the house, or when they're playing with knives and so on. And I was wondering, as a filmmaker, how did you deal with these situations? Did you at some point have to have some kind of an agreement with Ivanna or with yourself that, okay, I'm going to keep filming, but there must be a certain line at which point you are going to interfere? I mean, if they would actually set the house on fire, I would guess that you would say, okay, this guy's, I have some responsibility also as a sort of, I don't know, as a grown up there. How did you deal with them?
Yeah, the thing is that with the knives, for example, the knives, I think in this context where these boys live, you should be a very unresponsible grown-up to take the knife out of a child, because they are absolutely better prepared for using knives at 5 years than many grown-ups I know. So I never saw a boy there harming himself with a knife, never. And because it's part of life, you know. If you are unresponsible as a grown-up, you will take the knife away from them, so they don't learn about knives, how to use them, you know. So it's absolutely clear. It was clear for me when I saw them playing with knives, that maybe sometimes they are even better than me by handling this knife. So I didn't have a moral drama about it. And also when they're playing with fire, also I thought that of course that was difficult, but I thought that since I am looking at them, also I am part of this action, you know, and I'm as a grown-up. And in case it becomes dangerous, I can act. But the thing is that also I am there accompanying, in a sense, you know. I'm in the tundra. We were with cameras, and it wasn't obvious what should we do when we don't have the camera in our hands, because helping, we are a bit useless, you know. It was part of our what we discussed with Ivana, what we agree, that we are there accompanying, we are there watching. That's our function. That's in some sense is useful for them, in some sense is useless, but it's what we do. We accompany, and also there are this scene, for example, with violence, and this part is a very important part of the film, and of the story we tell, and it's absolutely obvious for me in the material that if Ivana will want me to interfere in a different way than I am present in this moment, she will ask, you know, like she had in other situations that were part of the film, but she didn't. This is part of also of accompanying in a honest way. You know? We are not bodyguards. We are friends.
Yeah.
So that's the agreement. You know? That's part of how you exist, how we existed. Yeah, I don't think there's a correct or an incorrect way. Every filmmaker decides that in place, in present, and then you are honest enough or not to tell the story.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, it's obvious that you have such a close relationship with her that you've built up through however long it took to make the film. Thank you very much for sharing the film with us, for sitting here with us and answering questions and telling us a lot more about the film. I hope the film travels widely still, and maybe we see your next film in a couple of years at DocPoint as well. Thank you.
I'm looking forward for that too, and thank you to you for the festival. and looking forward for the reaction of the Helsinki audiences, even if it will be online. I will be happy to hear about you, and I hope the film makes you yeah, find its audiences in Finland. It's a very important place for me.
Okay. All right. Good to hear. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.